Hello. Today I'd like to delve deep into one of the most infamous attacks in Spiral Knights, and why it literally goes against the very design of dodging projectiles in this game. Now, as someone who didn't make the game, that might sound like a bold statement to make, but just give me a minute, okay? Let me cook. Okay, I'm never saying that again, I'm sorry. Alright, I've got a lot of things to unpack here. Back in 2018, Cherub made a Twitter thread about some of the art direction of Spiral Knights, and in this post he mentioned something called the squint test, where the player's head and arms should be easy to make out with a blurred screen. Now in this context, he's specifically talking about the player model, and how costumes were designed with making the head and arms pop out more than the body. But the squint test can also be applied to various parts of Spiral Knights' design. Certain aspects of the game were designed to contrast from the environment. Things like health, explosive and ghost blocks, buttons, switches, golden keys, party buttons, the list goes on. Important gameplay elements were made brighter and easier to see. They designed this to help convey information to the player, as to say, hey, this is where the important thing is. And of course, all of this applies to projectiles. This projectile, which I'm going to dub the standard projectile, as it's used throughout various parts of the game, is fairly easy to recognize on a blurred screen. And that brings us to pull-up quills. Pull-up quills do not follow this design. There's very little contrast between these projectiles and other unimportant game elements, such as the ground or other pieces of the environment. In some of the brighter levels, the quills can be easy to notice, but in most environments they blend in and can be difficult to see when the player's attention is split between 10 different things. And now we move on to slime quills. The ones fired from toxigels, for example. Now this might be a bit of a hot take, but the main issue with slime quills is the projectile speed, not the fact that they fire in random directions. If slime quills traveled at the same speed as polyp quills, or any other projectile in the game really, they would be significantly easier to dodge, and it wouldn't feel as unfair to lose chunks of your health just because a void gel was in the same zip code as you. Obviously the RNG would still be annoying to deal with, but in my opinion the bullet speed is the main problem here. Visual clarity also plays a role in this, hence why I explained the whole squint test thing just a moment ago. It's not too uncommon to be in the middle of Descent into Darkness and just randomly lose health and then wonder what could have hit you. Now let's discuss some possible solutions to this. Ignoring the fact that this game will never be updated again. I can dream, okay? The easiest solution would be to just make the projectiles brighter. This wouldn't work too well in areas with a bright tile set, like Ice Queen for example, but in most levels making the quills brighter would at least make them easier to see, but dodging them is still a different story. Another way to improve this would be to give the quills some kind of an outline. If we take a look at the standard projectile, it's a black sprite with a bright outline, which makes it really easy to distinguish in just about every environment. It also changes colors depending on which element or status you're against, which is just really good game design in my opinion. Obviously this would take a lot more work to do, but I feel like that would be the best way to make these attacks adhere to the same design principles discussed at the start of the video.